In 2014, Notch sold Minecraft to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. Immediately afterwards, he purchased a literal record-breaking mansion and began throwing extravagant parties with famous people. But less than a year later, all he could think about was how isolated he was, how depressed it made him. He scrapped all his projects and even got cancelled so hard that Microsoft scrubbed him from the game's history. But this entire mess didn't spawn out of thin air. Many people believe it ties back to one trait that's been with Notch his entire life: impulsivity. When Notch was 24, he got a job at the game studio King, making various little browser games. This is the same company that made Candy Crush, but he was starting to lose interest in the work. His real passion was always to develop games of his own. King did allow this, but they didn't allow you to do it as a business, and he was starting to feel like they were getting between him and what he truly loved doing. So, in a rash decision, he quit his job. This was before he had any kind of momentum whatsoever on his own stuff, so it was very impulsive. But he had a plan. Notch had an earlier prototype called RubyDung, a 3D base building game. But it was abandoned, just sitting on his computer, until one day he came across a different game called Infiniminer, which obviously looks a lot like Minecraft. Notch was fascinated by it. Not by the gameplay itself, just by how people completely ignored the objective to build stuff. It was a team-based competition about mining ore. So Notch thought, why don't I make a whole game about what people are unintentionally doing in Infiniminer, building? This is when RubyDung became what we know today as Minecraft, and after a very short development period of just 2 months, he released the first alpha version of the game. Immediately, Minecraft earned a huge, unprecedented amount of organic growth for an indie game. It just blew up.
They say the first million is the most difficult. Like, I didn't expect to make another million. I did.
But this had the unfortunate side effect of teaching Notch that quitting things when they get tough, like how he did with his job at King, would ultimately work out. Little did he know, this lesson would have terrible consequences. Before I continue, Ironside, the sponsor of this video, is giving away $8,000 worth of gaming PCs. This is genuinely an insane opportunity, so I would suggest not skipping. Ironside specializes in gaming PCs that not only perform great, but they have these absolutely beautiful custom designs. They were generous enough to send me this $2,200 beast of a computer, and God knows I needed it. So far, it's actually been night and day. It doesn't freeze every time I join a Discord call anymore. It's awesome. Like I mentioned, Ironside is doing a giveaway totaling $8,000. The grand prize is a top-of-the-line custom PC worth $3,700, complete with an Intel Ultra 9 285KF and an RTX 5080. The second prize is this beast worth $2,400. It's got an Intel Ultra 7 265KF and RTX 5070, which, mind you, is still even higher value than the one they sent me. And the third prize is this $1,900 PC with the Intel Ultra 5 245KF and RTX 5060. All three of these ship worldwide for free. So, check out Ironside with my custom link in the description and pinned comment, and don't forget to enter the giveaway for a chance to win. That link will be right next to the first one. Minecraft is obviously Notch's most famous project, but it wasn't the only game he made, and this is important. He loved entering various game jams like Ludum Dare and Java 4K. He made this game Minecraft 4K for the Java 4K contest, where you have to fit your entire game into just 4 kilobytes, and for comparison, regular Minecraft takes over 1 million, so it was quite the feat. But all these random contests only serve to prove my point. Notch is terrible at committing to his projects. After about 2 years of developing Minecraft, Notch was getting overwhelmed with the project and the massive responsibility that came with it. The constant expectations, the pressure to keep topping himself, it all started to feel like more of a weight than a passion project. So he did exactly what he learned to do as soon as things got hard. He quit. Following the release of 1.0, he passed the lead role over to Jeb, who, to Notch's credit, has done an amazing job since. Dare I say better than Notch? But once again, Notch learned the best way to cope when things get tough is to quit. And arguably, this is kind of what happened with his marriage too, because right around the same time, he got divorced just months into his commitment. Although that's very speculative and I don't want you to quote me on that. So, now that Notch gave up the responsibilities of running Minecraft, he suddenly found his life to be very empty. What do you do when there's nothing left in your life to give you purpose because you just quit the thing that gave you purpose? Do you maybe realize you made a mistake and start it up again? No! Notch started working on a sequel, and the reason you probably haven't heard about it is because he quit this one too, Jesus Christ! 0x10C was a sandbox game set in space, and it was very ambitious. He even got C418 to do the soundtrack. Over the period of Notch developing and hyping up this game, it built quite the cult following. But in early 2013, not long after the project began, Notch was running into a brick wall. With Minecraft, it was pretty easy to iteratively add features over time and release them as updates. But 0x10z was much more complicated. Everything was so interlinked, and that didn't really work. This meant that Notch would have to do something he'd never done before: commit to the same project for multiple years straight without the validation of releasing it. And he was starting to get burnt out and demotivated, saying the effort sucked any fun out of the project. But the deeper he got, the more tangled it became, and unsurprisingly, on August 13th, the game was indefinitely shelved. Fans were pissed. Notch's impulsivity clearly didn't just affect him, it hurt entire communities of people. Throughout this whole arc of developing Minecraft's spiritual successor in space, Notch was still the public face of Minecraft itself. So all the criticism was directed at him. This came to a head in June of 2014. Up until this point, Mojang technically banned pay-to-win servers, but it wasn't really enforced. Until all of a sudden, Mojang gave servers a deadline. Remove pay-to-win products within 1 month, or your server would be blacklisted. There was immediate backlash. A Save Minecraft hashtag erupted on Twitter. And obviously on its face, banning pay-to-win seems like a good thing, but completely? Even on non-competitive games? In my view, the gambling loot boxes are the main issue. When servers tried to comply, most of them went out of business. Mineplex's profit dropped by 80%, and this ultimately led to their downfall. So, it's a complex issue, and I think Mojang could have done a better job communicating it. Throughout the drama, 95% of the public blame landed squarely on Notch himself. The worst part was that none of this was even his decision, but he was still expected to answer for it. You know, as any CEO is supposed to. And he tried, for a little while, but eventually it became too much. And real quick, I obviously haven't been in the situations Notch has, but I do think he has an above average amount of impulsivity just comparing him to other successful people.
I know I want to buy my share of Mojang so I can move on with my life. Getting hate for trying to do the right thing is not my gig.
This tweet was a joke, but immediately after, tons of companies called asking if he was serious. EA, Activision, Microsoft. And after really thinking about it for only a few hours, Notch realized he was. Once again, when things became difficult, Notch impulsively took the easy way out and quit. Microsoft purchased Minecraft for $2.5 billion, and Notch's 71% stake got him $1.8 billion of it. On its face, it seems like quitting worked once again, but this time it wouldn't last. From the outside, his new life looked like a billionaire's dream. He immediately purchased a $70 million, 8-bedroom, 15-bathroom Beverly Hills mansion. Literally broke the record for homes in the area. Once he moved in, he started hosting extravagant parties with famous people and earned a bit of a crazy reputation in the LA partying scene. He also started up a new game studio called Rubber Brain AB. I'll check back on this later. But inside those mansion walls, surrounded by everything Notch ever thought he wanted, he felt nothing. Every party was the same. The guests leave and he's standing alone in 23,000 square feet of silence.
Hanging out in Ibiza with a bunch of friends and partying with famous people, able to do whatever I want, and I've never felt more isolated. The problem with getting everything is you run out of reasons to keep trying, and human interaction becomes impossible due to imbalance. Found a great girl, but she's afraid of me and my lifestyle, and went with a normal person instead.
It's easy to dismiss his feelings because he has money and he's not a great person. Like, how can a billionaire be depressed, right? But when everything is handed to you on a silver platter, you run out of reasons to try. And that's gotta be a shitty feeling. So he started looking for people to blame, which led him to political extremism. It's okay to be white. Okay, sure, I guess I agree. SJW, stupid j***hole W. Good one, bro. Hashtag International Women's Day. You're an inspiration and a cook. That might be funny if I didn't think he was serious. Global warming is a hoax, okay? If we were allowed to discuss IQ differences between populations, there'd be fewer conspiracy theories. If you're against the concept of a heterosexual pride day, you're a complete fucking cunt and deserve to be shot? Notch is a racist anti-Semite millionaire. His input doesn't mean anything. Billionaire? Okay, that one's just aura. Q is legit. Don't trust the media? All the replies he's saying he's serious, so like, he actually thinks that QAnon is real. Come on, Notch. He wasn't tweeting because he believed he was some grand political thinker. I think he was mostly just lashing out. After blessing the entire internet with his uninterrupted stream of consciousness, Notch immediately got cancelled. Who would have thought? News outlets were all over it, and the primarily left-wing fanbase of Minecraft was in uproar. So much so that Microsoft thought it prudent to scrub him from the game completely. Every splash text mentioning Notch was removed. They didn't feature him in Minecraft's 10-year anniversary explicitly because of his tweets. And until very recently, they refused to mention his name at all. I bet it hurt. Imagine creating something that revolutionized gaming and then watching the people who own it pretend you never existed. So, a few years go by, Notch is still a deeply troubled man. But in 2021, we got the clearest possible example. If you remember, back in 2014, right after he sold Minecraft, he founded that game studio called Rubberbrain AB. But since then, the studio spent $6 million on various games, and in that 7-year time span, not a single one of them was released. This is speculative, but I like to think this actually got through to him. He quit his job at King, threw Minecraft to a different developer, and when that didn't help, he quit that too. He quit his marriage, he quit every single game he tried to start since. Notch may have lucked into unfathomable wealth, but he left behind everything that gave his life purpose. But when you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. Notch rebranded his game studio Rubberbrain to BitShift Entertainment for a fresh start, and he started work on a new game, Levers and Chests, a roguelike dungeon crawler that looks like it has some serious potential. He tweets screenshots of it here and there, but the impulsive tendencies don't go away that easily, and one day, they got the best of him.
The new game I'm passionately working on is currently set to be a traditional roguelike mixed with a tile-based first-person dungeon crawler. But then I got to thinking that maybe there are people who like my work but might not share my taste in retro nostalgia and would prefer for me to make a spiritual successor thing to Minecraft. And I mean, sure, I'd take that cash.
Then he attached a poll. In the replies, Notch begged people to vote for Levers and Chests. He seems genuinely passionate about the project. But when the votes started rolling in, reality hit him like a brick. Minecraft 2 obviously won the poll, so he half-assedly tweeted promises that he's a man of his word and that the game would come out. But a few days later...
Yo, can I make Minecraft 2?
If you do that, we'll be seeing you in court.
Kind regards!
Minecraft was in the past, it had moved on without him. Now, it was Notch's turn to move on too. If he wanted people to take him seriously again, he has to earn it. Levers and Chests is yet to release, but honestly, I'm excited for it, and I think there's a good chance Notch has genuinely learned from his mistakes. I'm tentatively hopeful it'll actually come out this time. His tweets were awful, and I'm guilty of dunking on him as much as the next guy. But Notch wasn't stupid. Like Notch's poorly aged marriage.
But he would soon regret that decision.
Because he would lose half of his net worth. This was also 2 years before Notch's divorce. You think Joel might have been Notch's gay awakening? This kind of marks the end of the peak of Notch's life. More on that later. How many slurs do you think he can type with his eyes closed? Are the villagers Jews?
No.
Are the Endermen African Americans? So glad we get to experience the inside of his brain. I've actually probably dunked on him more than the next guy, now that I think about it. But if we don't give him the chance for a fresh start, it's only gonna make things worse. The best word to describe his recent tweets is, as stupid as it sounds, jolly. He stopped being nearly as offensive on Twitter, he's back to making games, and he's even moved out of LA. I'm not inside his head, and this video has gotten dangerously close to psychoanalyzing him. I mean, frankly, I could be wrong about all of this, but he genuinely seems to be on a better path than he's ever been before. I see that as a win. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one on screen about how C418 got fired by Minecraft and then made history. And remember to subscribe.